Hello. One of Change Day's strongest supporters, right from the very early days, is the man I'm here with, Mr. Roy Lilley. And a year ago, just over a year ago, Roy wrote a blog about Change Day, where he said it was like affirming flames, little flames all over the country. Roy, what a furnace has this grown into?
No, I never thought. Who would have thought it would be all here a year on? Do you know what really interests me about this is that I travel a lot around the NHS and I speak to a lot of people in the rest of it, and I see people on stages at conferences like this saying the NHS has got to change. The NHS has got to change, and the further up the tree they get, the posher they get, saying the NHS has got to change. All the vets, factory posh. But no one can tell me what it's got to change into, because as I see it, it's the best healthcare system in the world. When I travel the world, people are always jealous of the NHS. It works. It employs 1.4 million people. 1 million people every 36 hours use it. The majority of them have a fabulous experience. The outcome ratings are terrific. So when people say, I think the NHS needs to change, I always say to them, well, from what? Into what? What do you want to change it into? What we've got is terrific. And so, I get all this argument about that. And of course, then people talk about efficiency. The NHS has got to be more efficient. Well, you can be more efficient without changing. The NHS has got to be, the organisation's got to be. Yeah, but you can, without changing the ethos. I don't like any of that. What I like about Change Day is that these are people working at the front line of care, changing the things they know that need to be changed. They're not palavering about with some iPhone policy idea and some wacky survey. They're actually changing what they know needs to be changed. And they've been given the sort of moral authority to get on and do it, the power to do it, and so they've changed what needs to be changed. And that's very empowering, because once they've changed a little thing and they get the appetite for it, they think, well, tell you what, we'll change a bigger thing next time. And so, suddenly this whole thing gathers a time and momentum of its own. And I'm full of admiration. I did support it from the off. I never thought one moment that it would end up like it's ended up. And I never thought we'd hear talking to you about it. It's a huge exhibition. So, I'm full of admiration with the way this works. And I really like the refreshing fact that people are saying, you know what, where I work, we could do this, and this better, and we're going to change it, and we're going to do it, and they just get on and do it. They don't need permission, they don't need a budget. It just shows you what can be done when people think about that. I hate using sporting metaphors because it turns everybody off, but I will just pinch an idea from the cycling, the Olympic cycling team. And the guy, Dave Beresford, I think it was, who is the boss there, he talked about the aggregation of minor gains. If you do little tiny things, they all add together. And for a long time, when I've been speaking about change and stuff like that, I think you've heard me say there's no silver bullet, but there's silver buckshot. And for me, Change Day is silver buckshot. It's the aggregation of minor gains. If everybody changed something where they work, think how the NHS would move on, step change. So that's why I'm a fan.
Brilliant. Now listen, one of the nice things about friends, right, is your friends also give it to you straight, right? And also, you as your whole style is to give it to you straight. So give it to us straight. What have we done really rubbish so far? Where can we get better?
I think, I wouldn't say it's rubbish, but what I would like to do is to have a more accessible entrance into the things that have been changed. And I tell you why, because I think the NHS is very good at reinventing the wheel, and I think I was talking this morning at my session, I was talking about the Academy of Fabulous Stuff, and I want to set up the Academy of Fabulous Stuff, if anybody's listening. And the idea is it's a repository of really good things. So when people have got a problem, instead of, and I used the example of Colchester, and I'm not dumping Colchester, I know they've got problems, but what happened in that organisation that people would rather lie about giving patients chemotherapy than actually ringing up somebody and say, do you know what, we've got a problem, can you help us? And so I would kind of like to see all the fantastic Change Day promises that have actually happened, somehow or other accessible, so that if I'm in a trust somewhere at the other end of England and I think, oh, do you know, I've got this problem about, I know, whatever it is, the bunion service or whatever, can I get into somewhere and have a look at B for Bunyan services? Yes, that's an idea. That's what I want to do. So I would like to see the outcomes more accessible. But it's a bit of an ask because I know that there will be quite a lot of software and algorithm that's sat underneath that. But if we could work towards that, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
So you've not done it wrong, but what I'm saying is that's what I kind of like to come out of it.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I mean, one of the differences between Change Day last year and Change Day this time is that whole cycle. You know, it's not now just about pledging, and it's not even about pledging and sharing. It's now pledge, share, do, inspire. And one of the important things I think for people listening to this is that they're thinking, you know, if you think you've pledged and that's the end of the day, then I'm afraid we're going to be coming to you saying, not so much top-down performance management, give us the evidence you did it, but more, okay, what did you learn, and what lessons can you learn, what support can you give, and all of that. And one of the things that we're thinking about is this whole concept that there's such a huge amount of social capital across the NHS in terms of expertise, years of experience, and also this, how do we mobilise the social capitalists, if you like, for the NHS?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it takes me back to my policy and politics study days. I think the Change Day are the anarcho-syndicalists of healthcare. You know, they're the anarchists, but they also realise that for certain things they have to come together.
Yes.
And Change Day brings the anarchists together, and kind of it's the antithesis of anarchy, but it's the heart and soul of anarchy.
Yes, yes. Well, it is. You know, it's, I don't know, what, 140 years since George, since what's his name, since Fabian said, agitate, educate, organise.
That's right.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Well, look, thanks very much, and thank you very much for you know, on behalf of the front line and on behalf of the team for everything you've done, because you have been one of our most stalwart supporters, and we always want you to know that's
full of
appreciated.
admiration. And thank you so much for inviting me, and well done everybody, and thank you for having me. Bye bye.
See you soon.